Thank you so much to our panelists dealing with a situation that all of us are watching on our TV screens in shock and horror every day. And it's a unique opportunity to hear from these eyewitnesses who've just come from the Syrian inferno. Now is the final part of our 4th annual Geneva Summit for Human Rights, where we try as best we can to conclude from all that we've heard today. And before I read out some words of conclusion, I'd like to invite all of our human rights activists who spoke today to please come up and stand on the stage. I'd like to invite everyone who spoke today to please come up on the stage. Our friends from China and Iran and North Korea, would you please join us on stage? I would also like to invite all of our NGO partners, all of our human rights activists who are co-sponsoring the event today. Would you please join us on the stage? I would also like to invite all of our volunteers, the team from UN Watch and everyone else who's volunteers, to please come up. If it's possible to move that table, I don't know if we can. It might be too hard, but that would be good. And in a moment, I'm going to read some words of conclusion. As we gather together the whole team from the summit, let me begin by thanking our diligent interpreters who do such great work, and we have interpreters who are really involved. And I want to thank all of them. And I want to thank our large team of volunteers, many of whom are on the stage today. A hand for our volunteers. I also want to thank Avi Baruch and the partners for the amazing video and live webcast, which allowed the whole world to see what we're doing and to put it on YouTube for posterity. With everyone gathered here, let me read a few words of conclusion before we do some final thanks. We have been moved and inspired today. We have been moved and inspired from Zoya Fan of Burma, Michelle Tran Duc of Vietnam, Justina Mukoko of Zimbabwe, Ren Wan Ding and Yang Jan Lee of China, Jewel Kim and Songju Kim of North Korea, Nestor Rodriguez Lobaina of Cuba, the story of Asia Bibi, who remains on death row, which was delivered here and at the United Nations by Anne-Isabelle Tollet, the story of honor killings by Jacqueline Thibault and the courageous couple from Pakistan, from Michael Nabil, who I think is coming right now, has just returned from the United Nations where he's just spoken, who was just released from Egypt and came to us today, Ibrahim Makhtari from Iran, who's with us and whose op-ed is published for all of metropolitan New York and the world to see, and of course from Syria, 2 eyewitnesses who just came out and we heard them now, Dr. Jacques Berez and Hadil Kouki. And we've been moved and inspired by all of these wonderful people. But being moved and inspired is not enough. It's not enough. We have to act. All of us here, those who are diplomats, and I acknowledge the ambassadors and other diplomats who have been with us today, a number of whom met with us yesterday, and who do so much work at the UN Human Rights Council trying to work on these issues, and a number of these issues are being addressed, Iran, Syria, Burma, and we need more, but these things are being addressed. And everyone here pledges to act, and we pledge to act. And we do so today in 2 ways to begin. One, we have adopted draft resolutions that we will be sending tomorrow to the United Nations. We have a draft resolution on China, which calls on China to be removed from the Human Rights Council. We have a draft resolution for human rights in Cuba, which calls for the same, for Cuba to be released to be removed from the Human Rights Council. We have a draft resolution on human rights in Pakistan dealing with the blasphemy law. We have a draft resolution on Vietnam. We have on countries that were not spoken about today but which remain of deep concern, including Russia, Venezuela, which is running for the Human Rights Council, and Saudi Arabia, which is on the Human Rights Council and which we call for them to be removed. So these are a series of draft resolutions that are the result of the summit together with the 20 NGOs and will be submitted to the United Nations. And we also have a petition that was released today to free Asia Bibi, signed by 50 human rights NGOs, including the former president of the United Nations General Assembly, Jan Kavan. And so this is our first steps for action, but I believe that all of you, in whatever your position is, whether you're a student, whether you're a full-time activist or a diplomat, can make a difference, and it begins by being aware. So many of the people here today have Facebook accounts and Twitter. Learn their story, follow their action, and make a pledge today that you will do something to spread awareness of their cause and to lead to action. With that, let me call on Ariel. Where's Ariel? Ariel, you come forward. Ariel is the chief organizer of this conference, and all of us are deeply indebted to Ariel for doing such an amazing job one more time. Everyone, this concludes our summit. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, let's take some photos.
Can someone just bring the banner to the side and to the gentleman there? Can you come in front of the table, please? Just put one banner in front of the podium, please. Okay, find a space. If you're in the second one, come on forward, please. Okay, everyone on this camera, please. Okay, over here, everyone. Great, thank you.